Lightspeed Spanish, podcast number 7 for absolute beginners, and today we're dealing with numbers. Hola Cintia.
Hola Gordon.
¿Qué tal?
Muy bien. Como el tiempo. Not.
Bueno, hace calor hoy, Cintia.
Bueno, yo soy española. Hoy no hace calor.
No.
Tú eres inglés.
Sí.
Hoy hace mucho calor, ¿no?
Sí.
Vale.
All depends on your point of view.
Sí.
Yeah. Okay, well today we're talking about numbers. Numbers are important to have as a Spanish student. Why? Because you're going to have lots and lots of different interactions with people when you're in Spain or in a Spanish-speaking country, and numbers are vital because numbers revolve around money. So if you get it wrong, well, you could be in trouble. So we're going to deal with a few things, basically around how the numbers run, how the numbers go, the pronunciation, and also about the common errors that people make with numbers as well. So, Cynthia, would you like to start? What about giving us 0 to 10?
0. 1. 2. 3. 4. 5. 6. 7. 8. 9. 10.
Very nicely done.
Thank you.
So, that was, if you notice, the 0 was pronounced cero, okay? And 10 was 10, okay? Because that's typically the peninsular pronunciation in Spain.
And 5.
And cinco as well, yeah, cinco. Now, common errors made in pronunciation, just from 0 to 10. One of them is 6, because 6 is spelled S-E-I-S, says. But English people want to put the I before the E, and so they tend to say sies. It's very common, sies. And the way to remember it is, for those who can remember, Foghorn Leghorn, he was an American rooster who used to come out of his little hut and say, I says, I says, I says, okay? For those who can't remember Foghorn Leghorn, you remember me saying, I says, okay? Because that's how you pronounce it, says. Okay, so that's the main mispronounced numbering from 0 to 10. But then we're going to go from 11 up to 20. Cynthia, could you do that for us?
11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20.
Muy bien.
Gracias.
So, now if you're listening to that, what you'll hear is that up to 15, every number has its own individual name. 11, 12, 13. After 15, what happens is you start saying 10 and 6, 10 and 7, 10 y 6, 10 y 7. And although the one word, that's basically what you're saying. Yeah? All the way up to 19, and then we come to 20, the next deeply mispronounced number. Okay? Let me tell you the story. My mum, I don't think she'll watch this. My mum, maybe she will. My mum,
Hola, Joan.
hi mum, was learning Spanish for around about 20 years. And after 20 years of learning Spanish, when I was a student as well, she said, si tengo veinte, and I said, oh mum, I think it's veinte. And she said, why does it matter? And I said, well, I think it really does. Actually, it does matter. Because again, like 6, the E comes first, and then the I. But of course, we English people tend to want to put the E first, so we tend to say veinte, and it's not. It's veinte, okay? Which rhymes with twainte. Twainte, veinte, okay? So, what happens to the numbers after that then? Once we get to 20, what do they do?
Okay, the numbers from 20 to 30,
Mm-hmm.
sorry, from 21 to 29
Mhm.
is only one word
Okay.
number.
And how
So-
do they go?
So we have 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29.
Okay. So that's one word, but it still sounds like 20 and 1, 20 and 2, yeah? Once we get to 30, all the way up to 99, you start getting individual words. You say 30
And
1, 30 and 2, 30 and 3, all the way up to 90 and 9, okay?
we only have the and
Mhm.
from 31 to 99.
Yeah,
And then it disappears.
okay.
Only from 30 to 90.
And we'll come to that when we get up to the hundreds. We'll come to another common mistake, which is people they know there's an and there and they stick it everywhere. Ands everywhere. Okay, so could you just run us through the tens now, from 10 up to 100, yeah?
30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100.
Okay, lovely. Now another issue, another area of concern for students is actually identifying the different sounds between 60 and 70. Okay, lots of students find it difficult to hear the difference. If you think of the word, if we said 67 and 76. Okay, so 67, 76. They're difficult to hear the difference sometimes at the beginning. So what you've got to do, a trick that I learned, is when you want to hear the difference between 60 and 70, you've got to listen for two different sounds. You've got to listen for a s and a st. Okay? Because a 60, 60, s, and a 70, 70. So if you just try and focus on the s or the st, so you can hear it, yeah? Okay. So we get up to 100, 100. So when you get to 101, is that 101?
No.
No.
From 101 is 100. So that would be 101, 102,
Okay.
103,
Okay.
etc.
And that doesn't have an I. This isn't 101.
No.
Okay.
So it's the opposite in English.
Yeah.
You would say 101,
And 1, yeah.
and we say 101.
Okay, and that's a very common mistake that people say, 101, and it isn't, yeah? 101. And does that go all the way up sort of 120, 130, 140?
The only one that is 100 is 100.
Okay.
100, 100. Then we've got 100, all
Okay.
the way.
Okay. When we get up to 200, what happens then? What happens with 200?
So for 200 we put 200.
So instead of 100, because it's plural now, cientos. Okay.
200.
Okay, could you run us through the hundreds then, because there are 3 pronunciations that are a little bit
Okay.
weird, yeah?
So we have 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800, 900, 1000.
1000. So did you catch that? There was 200, that's easy, 300, 400, normal, but then 500 was 500.
500.
Not 500, 500. Then 600, and then 7, rather than being 700, was 700. 800 normal, but then 900 instead of being 900 is
900.
900.
Which looks a little bit like when we were saying 70, 70, 90, 90.
90. Okay. So, and then 1000. And then 1000's 1000. After that, it's easy. 1000, 2000, 3000. But you don't have to say uno mil. For 1,000, you just say
Mil.
mil. Okay. So that's basically it. Is there anything else to add for numbers?
No, we can do another podcast from 1,000 or 2,000 onwards.
Okay.
And then we can test.
And then we do a test, yeah. All right, looking forward to it. Pues nos vamos.
Nos vemos.
Hasta luego.
Hasta luego.